inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. So alhamdulillah, as we are all stuck in our homes, obviously the opportunity to do religious activities hasn't completely stopped. We have chance to read Quran, we have chances to watch lectures, read books, and increase in our knowledge and private ibadah, right? You can pray more nawafil, you can make more dua to Allah, and you can also do charity work. You know, you can donate to Islamic causes online. So there's plenty of opportunities to continue Islamic work even though we are stuck in our homes. But anyways, inshallah ta'ala, we'll do a series of lectures throughout the week. Tonight and tomorrow night, I wanted to finish up the Usul al-Sitta, the explanation of the 6 foundations that I had started in the masjid. And we did 3 parts already. So tonight and tomorrow we'll conclude with this, and then inshallah ta'ala, perhaps Thursday and then again Saturday, we can have 2 more lectures on different topics that I'll think of later on. So just as a review, because it's been we didn't have anything last week, so it's been a couple of weeks. So far, we covered 4 of the 6 principles. And just as a review, the very first principle was إِخْلَاصُ الدِّينِ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ. To make the religion sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and purely for Him alone, the Most High, without any partners. وَبَيَانُ ضِدِّهِ الَّذِي هُوَ الشِّرْكُ بِاللَّهِ. And the opposite of Tawheed and the opposite of sincerity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, of course, shirk, which is associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that was the first foundation, to have ikhlas, to worship Allah based on Tawheed, and to understand and stay away from shirk. The second foundation, or the second principle, was أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِالْإِجْتِمَاعِ فِي الدِّينِ. The command of Allah to be united. All the Muslims should be one body, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. وَنَهَى عَنِ التَّفَرُّقِ فِيهِ. And the prohibition of splitting up into different groups within the religion. So that was the second principle. First principle is ikhlas for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second principle, all the Muslims being united as one body. Then the third principle, أَنَّ مِن تَمَامِ الْإِجْتِمَاعِ السَّمْعَ وَالطَّاعَةَ لَن تَأَمَّرَ عَلَيْنَا. And the third principle is, from the completion of unity is to obey, to hear and obey those who have taken authority over us. And the fourth principle that we did before the break was bayanul ilmi wal ulama wal fiqhi wal fuqaha, an explanation or a clarification of what is actual knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah, who are the real ulama, what is fiqh, jurisprudence, and who are the real fuqaha. وَبَيَانُ مَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِهِمْ وَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. And a clarification of those who copy them but are not really from them. So that's the point that we stopped at the masjid before we had to go on our break. Now the fifth principle is in relation, or a continuation of this fourth principle, which we did, was what is actual knowledge and who are the actual scholars, and to distinguish or to learn the difference between a true alim and a fake, or a true alim and someone who's just a talib, or an alim upon the Quran and Sunnah, an alim from Ahlul Tawheed, as compared to someone who is from Ahlul Shirk wal Bid'ah, right? So we have to determine that and have enough knowledge to distinguish between them, so that we can acquire the knowledge properly and not make mistakes by following the wrong type of people. So the fifth principle that we will do tonight, al-aslul khamis, the fifth principle, bayanullahi subhanahu li awliya'illah. It is an explanation of Allah, glorified be He, regarding the awliya of Allah. Awliya, we can translate it as the friends of Allah or the allies of Allah. وتفريقه بينهم وبين المتشبهين بهم من أعداء الله المنافقين والفجار. And His distinguishing between them, between the true awliya and between those who try to resemble them from the enemies of Allah, from the munafiqun, from the hypocrites, from the fujjar, from the sinners. وَيَكْفِي فِي هَذَا آيَةٌ فِي سُورَةِ آلِ عِمْرَانِ. And in this regard, there is a verse in Surah Ali Imran, which is Surah number 3, وَهِيَ قَوْلُهُ, and in it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. وَآيَةٌ فِي سُورَةِ الْمَائِدَةِ. And secondly, the Shaykh brought another ayah in regards to this concept of the awliya of Allah. There's another verse in Surah Ma'idah, وَهِيَ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى, in which Allah the Most High has said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَنْ يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. وَآيَةٌ فِي يُونُس. And the third ayah that he brings for the evidence of this principle, وَهِيَ قَوْلُهُ, this is an ayah from Surah Yunus in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَلَا إِنَّ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. So inshallah ta'ala, we will pause here and explain, this is the first half of this fifth principle, so we will stop here. We will explain what we have read so far, and then we'll go to the last half of this fifth principle. Now again, going back for those of you who may have forgotten or first-time viewers, Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, he wrote this book as a refutation of what was going on around him at that time. And as we mentioned in the first class of this series, that there was a lot of shirk, to the point that people, they would make tawaf around trees. They would hang things around trees. They would be literally worshipping people, seeking blessings from people, seeking blessings from stones, from trees, and whatnot. And they were heavily involved or guilty of such shirk, which is the reality of the ummah that we are in today. The Muslims were also divided. They would think that the knowledge of shirk is actual knowledge, and the knowledge of Tawheed is something that you should run away from. Just like many Muslims today, when you talk about Tawheed, they run away from you, and they curse you, and they abuse you, and they slander you. But when you talk about batil, falsehood, wrong stuff, shirk and bid'ah, oh my God, subhanallah, you become a popular speaker. So this was the same situation during his time. So now he comes and talks about the issue of awliya of Allah. And even to this day, this concept of who are the awliya of Allah, this is a major concept by failing to recognize this concept properly, many millions and millions of Muslims have fallen into severe shirk, major shirk, right? They'll say, this fulan who's in his grave, he's a wali of Allah. So if you go and make sujood in front of his grave, if you make dua to him, so many miracles will happen in your life. Or they'll see people, subhanallah, and it's not an exaggeration. Sometimes you see these people that are self-proclaiming awliya of Allah. Somebody will come and all of a sudden on YouTube or on TV or on the newspapers, right? There's so many avenues. They'll come out and they'll claim, self-proclaiming, I am a wali of Allah. And then people start flocking to these people, start worshipping them and falling into shirk of all kinds, right? So we see millions of Muslims are guilty of such a sin. So even though he lived and he died hundreds of years ago, the things that he wrote, the material that he left behind by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still very much applicable today, right? These are concepts that people should learn to clarify, to fully understand Tawheed, and to stay away from shirk. So the people at his time, the people who used to follow the various turuq, the various ways of the Sufiya, the Sufis. There are different kinds of Sufis. Some are extreme in their shirk, while others are lesser in their shirk. But all of those who follow Sufism, all of them, 100%, they fall into bid'ah. Some of them are into major shirk. Others, perhaps maybe not into major shirk, but they fall into minor shirk. And definitely all of them fall into various kinds of bid'ah, innovations, right? So we have to be careful, because sometimes some people, subhanAllah, they become too hard, they become too extreme. Not every Sufi out there is a mushrik, right? You can't just look at a Sufi, oh, this guy follows Sufism, so he's a kafir. No, we don't say stuff like that, right? We have to be very careful. This is not the way of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that we go around proclaiming mass takfir on people. This is the way of the Khawarij, right? This is the way of the Khawarij, not us as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, inshallah. So we have to stay balanced. So many of the Sufis at his time, they would come out and proclaim to be the awliya of Allah. They would perform, they claim that we perform miracles. And you hear such stories, right? Like one example, I've heard personally somebody saying, Sheikh so-and-so, you know, he hasn't slept for 40 years. Like he's a miracle worker. It's like, how is he not human? Right? A human being has to sleep. A human being has to eat and drink. So what these are like exaggerations in praising somebody. That somebody comes out, I'm a wali, and then you have the awam, the lay people, they are so foolish, they start making up fake stories, supernatural stories. Oh, so-and-so, he hasn't slept for 40 years. This wali of Allah, he never eats, you know, so on and so forth. So these type of things were happening at his time. So this fifth principle is about Allah's clarification of who really is a awliya of Allah, right? So this principle, that bayanullahi subhanahu li awliya, subhanahu li awliya illah. It is a clarification by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding who are his actual awliya, and a clarification about those who are fake awliya. They are the hypocrites, they are the fujjar, the hypocrites and the sinners. So the Shaykh rahimahullah, he brought 3 verses here as a proof to clarify who are the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, first and foremost, before we get into the 3 verses that the Shaykh brought in this principle, there's another ayah in the Quran in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear to all of us that فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not self-praise yourselves. Don't come out in the open and say, I'm a great Muslim. I'm the best Muslim. I do kada wa kada. I pray tahajjud every night. I fast Mondays and Thursdays. I do this, I do that. I give charity. You're not supposed to do this as Muslims. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not praise yourselves. Don't claim yourselves to be that you are somebody pure. You're always doing good deeds. You're a great Muslim. You're the role model for all Muslims. And unfortunately, many Muslims today, they are guilty of violating this ayah. Somebody will donate, let's say, one time in their life, they'll give, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000 to some place, to a masjid, to a madrasa, to something, right? And this guy, subhanAllah, for the next 10 years, he's going to brag how one day he gave $10,000, right? This is the ayah. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't praise yourselves. Or someone will pray tahajjud. This is something that you do in your privacy, in the privacy of your own home. Nobody sees you except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Perhaps you're praying while your wife and children are asleep. Literally, only Allah has seen you perform this good deed. That's how it should be. If you are truly sincere, you want to keep these type of acts of worship hidden, and only as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has seen it, has heard it, has recorded, I'm more than happy. But you shouldn't come out, brothers and sisters, last night, you know, I was praying tahajjud for 3 hours. This is not what a Muslim is supposed to do. Someone who, if anybody does something like this, know for sure his iman is faulty. There's something wrong with his iman. People are not supposed to brag about their good deeds. What you did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you are sincere, Allah will accept it. But don't brag about it, right? فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is well aware. He knows who are the actual people of taqwa. Don't come and say, I'm a muttaqi, you know, or so-and-so are from the muttaqun. These are my friends. I only hang around with the muttaqun. No, you don't know your friends. Allah knows your friends better than you, right? So these are things that we have to avoid. This is a general rule from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for any believer, right? Any believer. Doesn't matter if he's an alim or he's from the awam. None of us should be coming out and openly proclaiming, I'm a great Muslim, I do this, I do that, or I did this and I did that, right? فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. All right, so now we go to the first ayah that the Shaykh brought in this principle as an evidence to support that Allah clarifies who are the real awliya of Allah, who are the true friends of Allah, the true allies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first ayah, this is known as an ayah of testing people's iman. This is how the scholars, the mufassirun of the past and present, they take this ayah from Surah Ali Imran as an ayah that many people, every single Muslim on the face of this earth, if you ask them, do you love Allah? Every one of us will say, yes, I love Allah. There's not a Muslim on the face of this earth that, a'udhu billah, will say, I hate Allah, right? No one will say this. Only a kafir says stuff like this. An atheist who disbelieves in God's existence, he will say he hates God or doesn't believe in God, and so on and so forth, right? But a Muslim, even the bad Muslim, he's gonna say, I love Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down an ayah to test the people's love. Allah said in this ayah in Ali Imran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, say to the people, if you truly love Allah, then follow me. Follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If you do so, what's going to happen? يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Allah will love you in return and forgive you for your sins. Wallahu ghafurur rahim. And Allah is the most forgiving, the most merciful. So this is a condition. This ayah is a clear test to the believers. If you claim that you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it should reflect in your speech, it should reflect in what you look like, and it should reflect in what you're doing. Everything, the way you talk, the way you look, the way you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way you carry yourself in public and in private, it should reflect that you follow Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. If you truly love Allah, then you have to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is the sign that someone truly loves Allah. So now you ask this question. Every Muslim on the face of this earth says that they love Allah, but then a man will be wearing a gold chain. And we asked this brother, why are you wearing this gold necklace? Oh, my wife gave it to me. Or I got it when I got married, right? From my in-laws. Or my mother gave this to me, or so-and-so, right? Or I like this. But don't you know the hadith? The Prophet ﷺ said it's haram for men to wear gold. So how do you love Allah? When you are directly going against the command of Rasulullah ﷺ, right? وَمَا آتَاكُمْ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever the messenger commands you, you have to do it. And if the messenger prohibits something for you, you have to stay away from it. Allah has mentioned this in the Quran. So you cannot run away from the halal and haram or the fard and haram that's coming from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Someone can't say, well, the issue of gold, there's no ayah in the Quran that says it's haram, but this is a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari that gold is haram for men, right? So you can't play games with the religion, or people will do so many things. You'll find millions of men without any beard, millions of men, their pants are dragging below their ankles. All of these commands are found in the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the love of Allah is deficient in us, right? We say we love Allah, but we don't put it into practice 100%. So this is condition number one. in order to be from the awliya of Allah, someone has to be following the sunnah perfectly, or to the best of his physical ability. This is condition number one. Now, brothers and sisters, you think about it, think from whatever country that you're from, right? Whether you're from the African countries, North African countries, or West African countries, or whatever have you, or you're from the Indo-Pakistani subcontinent. These places are, very popular. That so-and-so comes out, somebody has a dream. All of a sudden, last night he went to sleep, he had a dream, and after Fajr today, he became a wali of Allah because that's what he dreamt, right? This is what happens. And you think about these people. Where is the sunnah in them? To the point, wallahi, brothers and sisters, because people don't read, they don't know. When you read the books of the Sufiya, when you read and actually study from them, you will see that they will say, this Sufi sheikh of ours, he has reached such a level, he doesn't need to pray anymore. He has reached such a level, he doesn't need to do this or that anymore. Right? He is a wali of Allah. Like I remember once somebody in Florida, this guy, never mind what country he was from, he came and there were lots of followers around him. This Sheikh so-and-so, he's a wali of Allah. All right, so he came to a masjid where one of my shuyukh used to be teaching, one of my teachers, he was teaching there. So the guy, it's for Salat al-Dhuhr, and he left. He's sitting inside the office. So my sheikh was like, what's going on? I thought he's a wali of Allah. He doesn't pray even the fard prayers? So the people, no. He's here in body, but in spirit, he's praying in Mecca. People make up such fake stories that this is what they believe, that you're here. It's the waqt of Salat al-Dhuhr. You have to be praying if you think you're a wali of Allah. Salah is the absolute basic. This is step one. You don't have to be an alim. Like, this is the most basic of basic actions. And you don't even pray? No, he has reached a level where salah is not required for him. Subhanallah. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, even though he was ma'ruf, Allah forgave all, ma'soom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave all of his sins, past, present, everything. Allah gave him the highest station, al-maqam al-mahmud. No one but Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has this position. Yet, he used to pray all night long. He used to pray to the point that his feet would be swelling up, and his wife Aisha radiallahu anha would say, Allah has already forgiven you. Why are you doing this to yourself more and more? And he used to say, should I not be a thankful slave? Should I not be a thankful slave to Allah? He gave me such a blessing, so I should worship him and thank him even more. So here is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam praying to Allah all night long, and there comes somebody today, oh, I'm a wali, I don't have to pray. Right? This is fake. So the first condition, that if someone truly is a wali of Allah, he should be following the Prophet ﷺ footstep by footstep. He shouldn't be differing with the Prophet ﷺ. And of course, the reward is the one who follows the Prophet ﷺ, then Allah will love him back. يُحْبِبَكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Allah will love him in return and forgive him. So this is one of the conditions. You want to be loved by Allah? Follow Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Don't differ with him. You want to be forgiven by Allah? Follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then the second ayah that the Shaykh brought in this principle is from Surah Ma'idah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. O you who believe. So Allah is calling out to all the believers, you and I and everybody else who has taken the shahada. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. O you who believe. Man yartadda minkum an dinihi. Whoever among you leaves the religion, or you turn back from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? You're playing games. You pretend to be Muslim today, tomorrow something happens, you turn away from Allah. Or you practice 2 verses in the Quran, you see a third one, you don't seem to like it, you turn away, right? The one who does this, he keeps turning away from the religion. Because look who Allah addressed first. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Allah is talking to the believers first. O you who believe. Man yartadda minkum an dinihi. whoever among you turns away from his religion, فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. Then know something for sure. Allah is not in need of you. Allah doesn't need me. Allah doesn't need you. Allah doesn't need anyone. He is Allah. He is As-Samad. He doesn't have any wants. He's not dependent on anyone or anything. He is As-Samad. Every single thing depends on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't depend on anyone or anything, right? So Allah is not in need of people who turn back on their religion. Rather, if you do this, then guess what? Allah will replace you بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ, with people who will love Him sincerely, وَيُحِبُّونَهُ, and Allah will love them in return. This is a severe warning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And don't you see this happening in the ummah today, brothers and sisters? We have young people. They come from Muslim families, right? Their whole family is Muslim. It doesn't matter if they're living in one of the Eastern countries or they are one of the youth growing up in these Western lands. They watch Hollywood movies. They'll watch or follow some of these singers. They want to live life according to the lifestyle of these singers and actors and actresses. Muslim youth, men and women, right? Muslim young teens, early 20s. They leave the Islamic life. They are in awe of the life of the kuffar. They want to act like the kuffar. They are leaving the religion because this is what they want to do. They want to have girlfriends. They want to have boyfriends. They want to go to the nightclubs. They want to do all these things. So they turn away from the religion. And what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing? We have Muslim young people leaving Islam. But at the same time, every single day, from the kuffar, people are taking the shahada. Just as Allah said in this ayah, that, O you who believe, if you turn away from your religion, فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِ اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. Then know that Allah will replace you. Allah is not in need of any one of us. You don't want to practice Allah's religion? That's your loss. Allah will replace you with better people. With better people who will love Allah properly, and Allah will love them in return. أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. They are very humble towards all the believers. So they will love Allah and Allah will love them. And they will be very humble, well behaved with the mu'minun. They're not going to go attack the mu'minun. They're not going to make trouble for the mu'minun. They're not going to abuse and slander and curse the mu'minun. Someone who is truly loved by Allah, and he loves Allah, and Allah loves him, a wali of Allah, someone who truly is a wali of Allah, he will never, ever harm the believers. Simply cannot. He will not teach the believers shirk. He will not teach the believers bid'ah. He will not deprive the believers. He will not cheat the believers. He will not plot against the believers. None of this will be done by someone who truly is a wali of Allah. Right? So again, we can ask this question. So many times we find Muslims splitting up into groups. Right? You look at politics, even in Muslim countries, or you look at what's going on, even with this virus. They have their Democratic Republican politics hasn't stopped. Right? This is the way of the kuffar. People are suffering, dying, hundreds, thousands are dying, but still, oh no, he's Republican, he's Democrat, let's curse each other. He makes this law, I'm going to turn away simply because he belongs to the other group. This is from the kuffar. Muslims are the same way. So many Muslims. They could care less what group, I want him to be president. I want this guy to be the king. I want this person to be the prime minister. If the person says, go jump off a building and kill yourself, he is so blind for his political group, he will actually do that. But when Allah says, go pray 5 times a day, no, this is too difficult. I can't do this. But if my political master tells me to go kill myself, I'll do it. Subhanallah, this is the fakeness of people. And this is the deception of shaitan. Right? This is what shaitan has done to people. That you will find Muslims, they go crazy. that someone loves another person, that I love Brother Muhammad, I don't care what he's doing, I don't care what he's saying. If anybody says anything against him, I'll fight that person because my love for him is blind. What happened to the love for Allah? This Brother Muhammad is a human being, just like me. I do good, I do bad. I do good things, I fall into sin. Every Muslim does good things and falls into sin, right? They will do stuff like that. So we can't be blind towards human beings like this. We have to love Allah. Allah will love you in return. You cannot harm the believers, because people, when they become blind for political groups, they start going around harming innocent believers just for the sake of their political party, right? This is what happens. That's what I was trying to get at. أَعِزَّةً عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. This is the other condition mentioned in the ayah. So they love Allah, Allah loves them in return. They are very well behaved. They are humble towards the believers. أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. And they are, they stay away. They clearly distinguish themselves from the kuffar. The way the kuffar talk, the way the kuffar dress, the way the kuffar eat and drink and act, they're completely different from it. The signs of Islam are on them. They are not, like you find many Muslims, unfortunately, like you won't know, let's say places where there are Hindus, like in India, in Bangladesh, and these countries, there's millions of Muslims and also millions of Hindus. You will see sometimes some Muslims, you won't know by looking at him, is he a Hindu or is he a Muslim? Or you'll find many people in America, is this person a Christian, a Jew, an atheist, or is he Muslim? When you look at this man or woman, you have no idea, because the signs of Islam are completely missing. You have no way to know that this person is a Muslim or what is he, until he says his name or he says salam or she'll say something, then you'll know, right? So as a Muslim, as a true wali of Allah, someone who truly is a friend of Allah, Islam will show from the outside. And of course, definitely first and foremost, inside. His heart will be will be dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His heart will be dedicated to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then it will show from the outside, in his tongues, in his appearance, it will show. So the sincere awliya, or the true awliya of Allah, they're humble towards the believers. They are harsh towards the disbelievers in the disbelievers' ways. They clearly stay away from the way of the disbelievers. Yujahiduna fi sabilillah. And they strive with all their nafs, with all their wealth, with their time, in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. And they don't fear the blame of the blamers. So let's say you want to practice Islam properly. You want to be a person of Tawheed. You want to be from the Muwahhidun. You want to be from the people of Ahlus Sunnah, right? In your Aqidah, you speak and you behave and you act according to Ahlus Sunnah. In everything, you try your level best to be from Ahlul Tawheed and Ahlus Sunnah. You will have your own relatives. They will mock you. They will curse you. They will abuse you. So Allah says that the true believers, the true awliya, وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. They don't fear the blame of the blamers. In your own community, in your own family, everybody is used to certain haram ways, certain bid'ah ways, certain political thinking. And all of a sudden you come and you're focusing just on Tawheed and just on Sunnah. You're trying to kill all these haram ideas. No one's going to like you. They will blame you. They will slander you. They will abuse you. They will accuse you. But guess what? At the end of the day, Allah is your master. Allah is my master. We're not supposed to be afraid of Fulan, he's going to make fun of me. Fulan, he's going to say this. Fulan, he's going to say that. So I'm going to change my religion. Let me do whatever they want. No, it doesn't work this way. That's not a wali of Allah. You look at our Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You look at our mother, Aisha radiallahu anha, right? No man after her will reach the level of her scholarship. She was from the mother of the believers. She's all of our mother, right? As Muslims, she's one of our mothers. We're supposed to love her. We're supposed to follow her. We're supposed to take from her knowledge. No one curses her except for a munafiq or a kafir, right? What happened during the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ? You had munafiqun accuse her that she fornicated. She's a zaniya. Can you imagine? Allah forbid. Somebody goes who hates you because you follow the sunnah, who hates you because you follow tawheed. Somebody says your wife fornicated. Or somebody says Sheikh so-and-so's wife is a zaniya. Well, guess what? It already happened to our mother Aisha. Did the Prophet ﷺ give up his religion? Did he start doing what the hypocrites wanted him to do? Did he give up and become a servant to the kuffar? No, he didn't. He kept his sabr. He stuck to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He remained firm on his tawheed. And Allah gave him victory. Allah proved the innocence of Aisha radiallahu anha by revealing ayat in the Quran. She remained patient. She could have said, and this is for the women, how many women, subhanallah, and this is something very common. If a sister, culturally speaking, if somebody sees a young sister, or even a married woman, maybe she went somewhere, I'm at the store, maybe she's buying something, this lady was talking to a man, the cashier, a person with an evil heart. Oh, isn't this so-and-so's daughter? Isn't this so-and-so's wife? Oh, she must be having some illicit relationship. Let's go spread this gossip in the community. Fulana was talking to Fulan at the store. What's wrong with you people, right? They do this. People do this. Just like the munafiqun. So if Allah forbid you are a woman who has gone through this type of situation or is going through this type of situation, think of your mother and our mother Aisha radiallahu anha. The best of the best women. The best of the best. Hypocrites accused her of fornicating. She didn't give up her religion. She didn't leave the Prophet ﷺ. She didn't leave the deen of Islam. Rather, she turned to Allah even more. She remained patient and kept crying to Allah until Allah proved her innocence. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, regardless of what your situation is, do not be afraid of those who will blame you. Everyone is from some type of wrong, or they're used to some type of cultural way of thinking, or the community is used to a way of living, a way of practicing. And then you bring the Quran and you bring the Sunnah, people are gonna not take it so easily, right? There will be people, enemies, who will slander you, who will abuse you, and so on and so forth. So, وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. A true wali of Allah does not fear any of the blames of the blamers. ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. This is the fadl of Allah. This is the grace of Allah that He gives to whomever He wills. So it's not guaranteed. Allah didn't reveal to us, Fulan is a wali. Right? Allah gives these qualities to whomever He wishes. And Allah blesses the people. This is from the fadl of Allah. This is from the grace of Allah. He chooses and He gives to whomever He wishes. Wallahu wasi'un alim. And Allah is all sufficient for His creatures' needs, for the needs of the creation, and He is the all-knowing. So no one dictates to Allah, hey Allah, can you make so-and-so your wali? It's Allah's decision. He gives these qualities to whomever He wishes, and Allah raises the status of those people. Then the third verse that the Shaykh brought in this principle are the 3 ayats from Surah Yunus. أَلَا إِنَّ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Surely, or unquestionably, without a doubt, those who are the awliya of Allah, those who are the true awliya of Allah, لا خوف عليهم, they will have nothing to fear, ولا هم يحزنون, nor will they be sad for any reason. When death comes to them, when they live in their life, when Malakul Maut will come to take their soul, when Yawm al-Qiyamah comes, they will have no fear whatsoever. They will have nothing to worry about, because these are the chosen. They are blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the awliya of Allah. They are the friends of Allah. So they have no fear. They have nothing to worry about. When death approaches them, they will see that the malaika of rahmah, the angels of rahmah, are descending to take his or her soul. They're not going to be afraid, right? So this is what Allah is referring to, that the awliya of Allah, la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. They have nothing to be afraid of. They have nothing to be sad about. In the very next verse, Allah describes how you can be from the awliya. Because someone can take this ayah, right? Someone can say, listen, Allah said the wali of Allah does not have to be afraid, has no grief, no sadness, nothing to worry about. Fulan is a wali of Allah. He has nothing to worry about. He doesn't need to pray. He doesn't need to fast. He doesn't need to do anything, right? But Allah says in the very next ayah, who are the awliya? الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. Two conditions. They are the true believers in Allah, and they are the people of taqwa. Iman and taqwa. So someone who doesn't pray, does he have iman or taqwa? No. Someone who, when you see him, he's the exact opposite of what the Prophet ﷺ said that a Muslim should talk like, should behave like, should look like. How can he be a wali of Allah? Sometimes you see these people, and I've seen them with my own eyes. You'll find people that they claim that they're the wali of Allah. Huge beards reaching to the ground. And people will think, did you see his beard? It's so big. He's pious. He's pious. He's a wali of Allah. Even though a beard like that is not from Islam, right? It's not from Islam. Your beard should not be reaching your belly or knees or to the ground. This is not the beard that the Prophet ﷺ or any of the prophets before him commanded. Fist length up to your chest at most, good enough. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. A minimum being fist length, and of course maximum we have narrations from Ali radiallahu anhu and others that up to the chest, but not to the bellies or the knees or the ground. This is not the beard of Islam. So anyways, people will think so-and-so's beard is so long, he's a wali of Allah. You look at them, they look like they stink. It's like they haven't taken a shower for months, right? And they have knots in their hairs, like he looks like some a Rastafarian, with dreadlocks and things like that. But this guy is a wali of Allah. I mean, what's wrong with you? Clean yourself up. Like, they are so dirty and this and that. But people are worshiping them. People are kissing their feet, bowing down to them, this and that. Right? This is what happens. So Allah makes it very clear that the awliya of Allah, sure, they have nothing to fear. They have nothing to be worried about. But الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. They are the people of Iman. They are the people of Taqwa. لَهُمُ الْبُشْرَى فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. They will have the good news in the dunya and in the akhirah. لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِكَلِمَاتِ اللَّهِ. There will be no change in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot change the conditions of who a wali of Allah is. You can't. لا تبديل لكلمات الله. The words that Allah has ordained, commanded, and legislated, and explained, no one can change the words of Allah. So yes, Allah is saying, here are my awliya. This is the gift. They will have no fear. They will have no stress. They will have good news in the dunya, good news in the akhirah. But guess what? They are the people of Iman and the people of Taqwa. No one's going to change this. ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. And this is the ultimate success. To be from the awliya of Allah. This is the ultimate success. That we are classified as the people of Iman and Taqwa. Right? So very clear that what happens nowadays, and the same thing used to happen during Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab's time. Someone will come. I had a dream. I saw Allah talking to me. You have to recite Surah Ikhlas 200 times every Thursday after Salatul Asr. You just made up a new Sharia. Where did this rule come from? Right? The Quran stopped with the death of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. whatever surah you have to read and how many times and what day has already been mentioned by Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So who are you coming 1400 years later with a new sharia? Why are you changing the words of Allah? Why are you changing the religion of Allah? But then people will be like, oh, he dreamt of Allah. How do you know he dreamt Allah? Why? He's not a prophet. Allah's not going to come to somebody's dream and give him a new revelation. He's not a Rasul. The prophets and messengers ship has ended with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nobody today, doesn't matter if he's the biggest alim of the dunya, he's not going to be dreaming of some new sharia that Allah gives him. Right? This is fake. So you have to understand this, brothers and sisters, and don't be deceived by people. Or you'll find another, I'm giving another example. I mean, we can talk about these examples for hours. Like another common example. Oh, Sheikh Fulan, he has the hair of Rasulullah in a jar in his bedroom. So he's a wali of Allah, let's go kiss his feet, bow down to him. I mean, first, it could be his own hair that he put in a jar. And even if it's the hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what does it mean for him? He has the hair of Rasulullah in a jar. How does this guarantee Jannah for him? And why should you go and kiss his feet because of that? What does the hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have in connection with this guy? Right? So you have to think. Use the aql that Allah has given you. That don't fall for these type of deceptive maneuvers. Just day before yesterday, on my Facebook, I shared this one person in England. Right? He has the cure to the coronavirus. He has a ta'weez, an amulet. He will give you this ta'weez. You're going to wear it and you'll be free and safe from coronavirus. And you look at his profile. I took a screenshot of the profile too. That he follows the Hanafi school of thought. He follows the Naqshbandi tariqa. And this is Sufi. Naqshbandi are one tariqa of Sufiya. Right? So this is just to prove that this is his own biography. So that people don't think, oh, you Wahhabis, you Salafis, you people just blame people for no reason. No, we're speaking with proof. He himself is claiming that he follows the Hanafi school of thought and he follows the Naqshbandi tariqa. And this is what he supports. Do you think Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, would accept this type of shirk? He was an Imam of Ahlul Sunnah. I mean, how dare you claim that you are a follower of the Hanafi school and then you are writing shirk for people and calling people to shirk, right? This is craziness. But people will think, oh, he's a wali. He gives special amulets. It's going to protect you. It's going to cure you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cure you, right? You make dua to Allah. You take the precautions. You do what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Keep yourself isolated in these times, during these type of pandemics. Make dua to Allah. And this is the only way you can save yourself, right? That's it. You know, a necklace isn't going to save you. Allah will save you. So these are the verses that the Shaykh brought in support of this principle, that we can't just go around claiming this person and that person is a wali of Allah. Allah has mentioned, yes, can there be awliya of Allah? Absolutely. Allah himself has mentioned that there are certain people who are the awliya of Allah. But how to be from the awliya, Allah also mentioned that very clearly. You have to be firm on the sunnah. You have to love Allah sincerely. You have to be well behaved. You have to be a person of iman. You have to be a person of taqwa. And who knows this except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I can't come and say, oh, brothers and sisters, I'm the best mu'min there is. If I say stuff like that, know for sure I'm a corrupt human being. Right? No one's going to say this except the one who is a hypocrite, a fajir, a sinner. Right? So this is why the Shaykh brought that the awliya, the people who claim themselves to be awliya, they are the munafiqun and the fujjar, the sinners. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also made it very clear in another ayah. And we'll move on with the principle after this example. In another ayah in Surah An-Nisa, Allah said, وَمَنْ يُطْعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ, whoever obeys Allah and obeys the Messenger, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. Then surely they will be with those, in the company of those whom Allah has blessed, or Allah has showered His favor upon. The one who obeys Allah properly and obeys the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam properly, then Allah will keep that person with the company of those who have been blessed. And who are they? Allah gives the examples. مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ, from the prophets. وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ, from the truthful people. وَالشُّهَدَاء, from the martyrs. وَالصَّالِحِينَ, and from the righteous. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. What an excellent companionship to be with. So if you obey Allah, and again this ayah is for everybody. If anyone can fulfill obedience to Allah and obedience to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the gift for them, they will be in the company of the prophets, the truthful people, the martyrs, the righteous people. And what an excellent companionship, what excellent friendship to have. That my friend, my buddy in Jannah is going to be the Prophet, right? I'm with the truthful people. I'm with the salihun. I'm with the shuhada. What an excellent companionship. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left the door open for any and every believer to fulfill these conditions and to be from His awliya. But that believer has to make that effort. You can't just sit around and think, I'm going to become a wali of Allah. You're not going to have some special dream saying that you're a wali of Allah. You have to make effort. You have to obey Allah. You have to obey the Messenger. You have to be a person of Iman. You have to be a person of taqwa. Right? So hopefully this is clear. Then the Shaykh continues the last part of the principle before we conclude for today. ثم صار الأمر عند أكثر من يدعي العلم. But then this affair, meaning the concept, the understanding the concept, the real meaning of awliya, to most of those who claimed knowledge was forgotten. وَأَنَّهُ مِنْ هُدَاةِ الْخَلْقِ وَحُفَّاظِ الشَّرْعِ. And those who claimed to be the guides, and those who claimed to be the guides of creation, for the creation, and the protectors of the Sharia, right? The people who claimed ilm. And this is exactly what happens. This peer or that guy, this person, right? He claims he has knowledge. He claims he's a big sheikh, but then he's blabbering all this shirk. So the person who claims to have knowledge, the person who says, I will show you the huda, the guidance, I am the protector of the Sharia, he's telling you the exact opposite of the Sharia. إلى أن الأولياء لا بد فيهم من ترك اتباع الرسل. It became such that they considered it necessary for the awliya to abandon following the messengers. So the people who claim to be people of knowledge, and it's exactly happening today. A person who comes and he says he's a peer, he's a wali. Oh, it just struck me right now, the best translation is a saint in English. Someone claims that he's a saint, right? So that's another translation. But anyways, so someone who claims that he's so knowledgeable, he's so pious, they make it necessary that you have to abandon following the messenger. Think of every single peer or self-proclaiming wali of Allah out there throughout the entire world. Every single one of them, they have abandoned the messenger's way, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it is necessary. In order to be a false wali, it is necessary for them to abandon what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. وَمَنْ تَبِعَهُمْ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. And whoever followed the messengers, they consider them, oh, you're not from the awliya of Allah. The exact opposite, right? Even though Allah said in the Quran, to be from the awliya of Allah, you have to follow the messenger. But these fake awliya, they say you have to abandon the way of the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَلَا بُدَّ مِن تَرْكِ الْجِهَادِ. And that it is necessary to leave off striving for Allah's path. فَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. And whoever makes jihad fi sabilillah, he's not really a awliya, really a wali of Allah. فَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ وَلَا بُدَّ مِنْ تَرْكِ الْإِيمَانِ وَالتَّقْوَى. And that it is necessary to abandon iman and taqwa. فَمَنْ تَعْهَدَ بِالْإِيمَانِ وَالتَّقْوَى فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. And whoever adopted and he holds firmly to iman and taqwa, they consider it that he's not from the awliya. And then the Shaykh, he ended this principle with a dua that's found in the Sunnah. It's collected in Bukhari and Muslim and Abu Dawood and At-Tirmidhi and Nasa'i and Ibn Majah, right? Kutub al-Sitta. So all those 6 books of hadith that we call Kutub al-Sitta, they have collected this dua of Rasulullah. So the Shaykh ended with that dua, Ya Rabbana nas'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah innaka sami'ud du'a. And I'll explain this before we end tonight. So here, in the first part, the Shaykh explained who are the real awliya of Allah. And then in the second part, he explained what the fake people consider to be awliya. And just for general knowledge, if you want to read more on this topic, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he has a book, the criteria between the awliya of Allah and the awliya of shaitan, because there's only 2 kinds of awliya. Either someone will be awliya of Allah, he will be a friend of Allah, or he will be awliya ush shaitan, he will be a friend of shaitan. There's no third option. You have to understand this. Either you're with Allah or you're with the shaitan. There's nothing in between, right? We have to understand this, because some Muslims, they think they can have one foot in Tawheed and another foot in Kufr. One foot with the Mu'minun and another foot with the Munafiqun. Life doesn't work this way. You have to be with Tawheed. If this goes against your own mother and father and your brother and sister, you're still with Allah. Doesn't matter, right? You have to be from the awliya of Allah, not the awliya of shaitan. And of course, Allah has mentioned this in the Quran, that people can be from the awliya of shaitan. Like for example, Allah mentioned, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. Whenever you're about to read the Quran, you're going to sit with the Quran, you have to make isti'adah with Allah مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. So when you sit down to read the Quran, the first thing you're supposed to say, this is the ayah, this is in the Quran itself, the very first thing you're supposed to say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Then you start with the Quran. So this is a command from Allah, right? فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنِ. Whenever you're about to read the Quran, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. So seek refuge in Allah from shaitan the outcast. إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ لَهُ سُلْطَانٌ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. Indeed, the shaitan will have no influence over those who are sincere believers and who have tawakkul ala Allah. If you have true iman and if you have true tawakkul, the shaitan will not become a sultan, a leader over you, right? The shaitan will not influence your mind, your heart, and your behavior and your actions. Allah will protect you, but the condition is you need iman, you need tawheed, right? You have to have tawakkul ala Allah properly. إِنَّمَا سُلْطَانُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يَتَوَلَّوْنَهُ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِهِ مُشْرِكُونَ. Shaitan can only influence those who choose to follow him and those who fall into shirk. That's it. So Allah makes it very clear that the shaitan can only influence you if you actually follow him, right? This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in another verse, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Do not follow the footsteps of shaitan, because this is how he gets you. If you follow the footprints that he leaves behind, eventually he's going to have full influence over you. So this is what it is, the conclusion of how to be from the awliya of Allah and be away from the awliya of shaitan. And then lastly, and then we'll go to some questions, the Shaykh ended with a dua that I said is found in the Sunnah, and it is found in all the major books of hadith. It's an authentic dua so after describing all this, the Shaykh ended with this dua that Rabbana nas'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah. O our Lord, we ask you for forgiveness and pardon. Innaka sami'ud du'a. Indeed, you hear the supplications when they are made to you. This is a beautiful dua, and the Prophet ﷺ, he taught this, and he taught in his sunnah that every day you should say this dua. Rather, brothers and sisters, some people, they think that you have to literally break down everything that you need. Oh Allah, give me bread, give me milk, give me sandwiches, give me rice, give me meat, give me chicken. Right? This is what they think they'll make dua for. Just ask Allah for food and drink. That's it. You have to know how to be concise and precise in your dua. That's the best type of dua. This dua that the Prophet ﷺ taught, and I'll repeat it for so that you can inshallah hear it and inshallah memorize it. The way the Prophet ﷺ taught this dua, he said that every day you should say this. In the mornings, in the evenings, you should say this dua that Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyya fi dunya wa fil akhirah. That, oh Allah, I ask you for forgiveness and pardon in the dunya and in the akhirah. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyya fi ahli wa mali wa dini. Oh Allah, I ask you for afwa, forgiveness, wal-afiyah, and pardon in my family, in my wealth, in my religion. So this is the way you should be making this dua. That Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah fi dunya wal-akhirah fi dini wa ahli wa mali. Right? In my religion, in my family, in my wealth. This is how you're supposed to ask this. This is the most concise, beautiful dua that you can make. It already includes everything. Everything. When you are asking, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah, it includes everything that is good in this dunya and of course in the akhirah as well. So you leave it to Allah. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he said in the second sentence, he asked for afwa and afiyah in his religion, in his family, and in his wealth. Right? So he covered everything. And in another narration, he mentioned, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah what is it? Fi dunya ya wal-akhirah. That in the all worldly ventures and all worldly activities, give me afwa and afiyah. Right? So this is how you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very precise, but it covers everything. Right? When you say this, you're covering everything. You want your food and drink and clothing, your family's health, your own health, your family's well-being, your religion, your dunya affairs, your akhirah affairs, everything is already covered in this one sentence. This is how beautiful this dua and inclusive this dua is. So this is why the Shaykh, he ended this principle with this dua, because this is so severe that people are misguided. They're running after the fake awliya, falling into shirk of the worst kind that leads straight to Jahannam. Right? You have to ask Allah for afwa and afiyah. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can protect somebody from these type of wrong understandings and guide them back to the religion. So inshallah ta'ala, before we end this live stream, let me look at the questions that we have. All right, the first, regarding the pandemic, tying the camel, what is the balance and how many weeks grocery shopping we should have? All right, so this is part of this is part of tawakkul ala Allah, and we just covered that to be from the awliya of Allah, to be free from the influence of shaitan, you have to be from the mutawakkilun, from those who truly have tawakkul ala Allah, right? Those who truly have tawakkul ala Allah. So now the thing that we are facing all over the world, this pandemic, this is one of the tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is a sure way. Now is the time to prove your tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, because a Bedouin came and he asked, this is based off a hadith, a Bedouin came and asked, should I tie my camel first and then have tawakkul ala Allah, or should I just leave my camel alone and have tawakkul ala Allah? Meaning, should I tie my camel so it stays in its place, no one steals it, or it doesn't run off, or do I just let it be free and depend on Allah that the camel will still stay in my property, or no one's going to steal it, or it's not going to run off, right? So the Prophet ﷺ said that the meaning of tawakkul is you tie your camel first, then you depend on Allah. You take all of your precautions. If still a musibah comes to you, that is the qadr of Allah. Allah had written that for you. This is a test for you. Inshallah ta'ala, if you behave properly, it will be a rahmah for you and a means for you to earn forgiveness, right? So you do all your precautions, you take all of your precautions, and then you depend on Allah. This is the way. So part of this pandemic is, of course, instead of going outside, going outside all the time, you collect the groceries for 2-3 weeks or a month. I think in the media they're advising at least a month of food, right? As a Muslim, you're supposed to be balanced. Don't hoard up 6 months of food. Brothers and sisters, please don't do this, right? You have to worry about the other human beings. You're not the only son of Adam who is struck by this pandemic. As a Muslim, you live a balanced life. You want to store up food for a month, 2 months? Okay. Don't go and hoard food for 6 months and you clean up the whole grocery store. I was, people are sharing so many videos. They showed this couple. They bought out every toilet paper, paper towel roll from a dollar store. And they had like 2 pickup trucks and they're loading everything. You didn't leave anything else for the other people. This is not the way a Muslim is supposed to shop, even at a time of a pandemic. You save food for yourselves, for yourself and your families, a month's worth of food, 2 months worth of food at most. This is fine. This is within a balance. Don't worry about it, because they are saying that this will take several weeks. But of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. We make dua. May we be relieved soon from this, because we don't want to be stuck in our homes during the month of Ramadan, right? We don't want to do that. It could be, we have to be mentally prepared. But of course, we don't want to be in that situation. We want to go to the masjid. We want to pray taraweeh. We want to spend more time in the masajid during the month of Ramadan. Increase in spending time in Allah's house, doing more ibadah and stuff like that, right? So we don't want to be just locked up in our homes. Even though, if Allah forbid, that still is the situation, your Ramadan will not diminish at all. You can still worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pray, read Quran, and of course fast while in your house, right? So anyways, to conclude, a couple of months of food should be, inshallah, within the balance of Islam. All right, where can we find the dua that you mentioned? This is collected in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim and in Abu Dawood. But I'll just repeat it again. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah. Oh Allah, I ask you for afwa and afiyah, right? So this is the dua. And you can add, of course, fi dunya wal akhirah, in the dunya and in the akhirah, fi dini wa ahli wa mali, and in my religion and in my family and in my wealth. So all of these are added from the sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ himself added these phrases after this. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah. All right. Let's see, any other question? Can you eat at a restaurant where they serve pork? In most restaurants, they use the same glove pots and pans to cook pork as well as everything else. There is nothing wrong in eating from a restaurant that serves pork, right? But of course, let's say you went to Subway. You want to have a tuna sandwich, right? But they also serve bacon and all this stuff, and they're cutting. It's your duty as a Muslim. You order your tuna sandwich, no problem. You tell the person, can you use a fresh glove and can you wash the knife before you cut it? You're allowed to say this. Don't worry. Don't feel shy. Open your mouth, inshallah ta'ala, and politely ask them. They have to listen to you. You're the customer. So, and you can see clearly they're using a fresh glove or whatever the case. So any restaurant you go to, I don't know, Chipotle, Qdoba, you want to get yourself a vegetable burrito. There's also pork there. You tell the person, use a fresh glove, please. So no problem whatsoever. You follow these guidelines, inshallah ta'ala, this is completely fine. Are you allowed to play games while sitting down like chess? We have clear hadith where playing chess is actually haram for us Muslims. Right? So this is a clear hadith in the Sahihain, in Muslim and Bukhari and others. We're not allowed to we're not allowed to play chess. Now, if somebody wants to ask why, I mean, again, it's a prohibition from Allah and His Messenger. We shouldn't be digging behind the why of everything. But let's just say, like, you think about what happens. When someone plays chess, right? Think back or observe two people playing chess. Their mind is so into it. They literally have no clue about what's going on, right? Because what happens when you're playing chess, you are thinking about the move that your opponent may be making, and a good chess player will think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. Like your mind is completely lost in that game of chess. This cannot be the case for a Muslim. Anything that you do in life, you shouldn't lose track of reality. You should not lose track of your life as a Muslim or track of the akhirah, right? If that happens to you, you have to take a break from that one thing, right? This can happen with even halal things. This is why there's a principle in fiqh, right? This is well known. Let's suppose you're playing basketball. Is basketball halal or haram? It's completely halal. You're in your backyard, or you and your friends, you shoot some hoops in the afternoon, but you are so into basketball, you're missing Salatul Asr. For you specifically, basketball is now haram until you learn how to control yourself. You can't miss Salah because you're playing basketball in the afternoon, right? So you have to balance your life as a Muslim. So anything in life, if it occupies your mind to the point that you have forgotten your religion, even that halal thing will become haram for you as a specific individual until you learn how to regain your consciousness, right? And live a balanced life. But for chess, people just, this is haram in general. The Prophet ﷺ forbade it, but I was just giving some explanation that some of the scholars gave, that when you play games like chess, checkers, these type of, or also playing with dice, right? It's the same hadith. Any game that has dice, right? So let's say back in the day, there used to be board games all over the world. You would play dice. You can easily remove the dice. If you want to play a board game as a family and have some fun, you replace the dice, you draw lots or put some numbers. Everybody just picks up the number from the box. Oh, 3 steps. I go 3 boxes or 2 boxes. You don't just do that. Just remove the dice and you play it that way. So it's not allowed for us to play games with dice, which of course is gambling. All gambling. You look at, think of the casinos. It's all dice and cards and this and that, right? This is how the gambling industry works. All right. What can you say about a Muslim who died now and they can't have Salatul Janaza? Okay, very important question, directly related to our situation right now. This Salatul Janaza, well, someone who dies now are of two types. One, a healthy person who died without this disease. And a second, a person who dies with the disease. All right, so two different types of people. So let's talk about the one who dies. And of course, every day people are dying. This is the nature of life. If by the qadr of Allah, someone we know has passed away, it is from Islam at this moment, we don't gather by the hundreds for the Salatul Janazah. Right? So let's say, if Allah wills, a member of our community died in the coming days. We should not gather in the masjid, and he's healthy. He doesn't have this virus, right? He doesn't have this virus, or she doesn't have this virus. It was just a natural death, or whatever death Allah has written for the person, but it's a person who did not have this disease. Still, the janazah don't flock to the masjid by the hundreds. This is, don't do this, don't break the law of Islam or the law of the land, right? Bare minimum people should be there, wash this person, to shroud this person. We do the janazah and we bury the person. Very few people, not by the hundreds. This is for the one who dies without this COVID-19 coronavirus. Now, what if someone, by the qadr of Allah, and there are Muslims who are also dying with this virus? This is now a completely separate issue. If someone you know, your loved one, your family member, you have to be mentally prepared because this virus is affecting the elderly and even young people who have a very weak immune system. They already have other types of illnesses already, so their immune system is weak. They are the ones who are dying from this virus. So if by the qadr of Allah, a loved one of yours dies from this virus, you have to understand something. You cannot visit this person in their last moments. Suppose you hear so-and-so has, one of your relatives or friends have ended up in the hospital from the virus and in a very fatal near-death situation. Don't be like, oh no, this is my aunt, I have to go. You're not allowed to visit. This is from Islam as well. Because when you go visit this person, you expose yourself to the virus. So this is by the qadr of Allah, nothing we can do. Allah writes different kinds of deaths for different people. It's His decision. You have to accept the qadr of Allah. So mentally be prepared that Allah forbid, if I get this type of news, I cannot be emotional and break the laws of Islam and the laws of the land and just fight in the hospital to see my relative. You cannot do this, right? So you cannot visit this person in their last moments. Once the person passes away, this is the ruling. We do not wash this person because you are only exposing yourself to the germs. This person does not have to be washed. The one who dies from ta'un, these type of plagues and contagious diseases, he doesn't or she doesn't get washed. Whatever way that they wrap from the hospital, bare minimum with everything protected. Just one or two people, whatever it needs, you go do bare minimum janazah from a distance and bury the person. But there is no ghusl for this person. The same ruling for those who die as shuhada. The Prophet ﷺ said, the shaheed who dies in the battlefield, the sincere shaheed, right? Not a suicide bomber. That's not from Islam. That is absolutely haram, right? So a sincere shaheed, a true shaheed, he is not supposed to be washed or shrouded. He is supposed to be buried with those bloody clothes. The one who dies from ta'un, from a plague like this COVID-19 coronavirus, inshallah ta'ala, provided the man or woman was a good Muslim, he or she attains the reward of shuhada, of martyrdom. So the person doesn't even get washed and just gets buried in whatever safest way possible, right? So you have to keep this in mind, inshallah ta'ala. Hopefully this is clear. What is the ruling on lottery tickets? Lottery tickets, the same thing. It's gambling. It's haram to buy lottery tickets. So you can't go to the gas station and buy what are these? What are they called? Powerball or Mega Million lottery tickets, right? And however other kinds that they have. But let's suppose sometimes they have different stores will have promotions to appreciate customers. Oh, you spend $100, here is a raffle. See, open it up, see if you win something. That's not gambling, right? You're not going there. Your niyyah is not for the lottery ticket. Your niyyah is you're going to the grocery store because you need milk, bread, and food, right? Your niyyah, you're going there to buy food. But the grocery store is having a promotion. They give raffle tickets out or tickets out, go see if you win something, right? This is just a promotion as an appreciation for their customers. This is different. And this was explained by Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. Or many times, you go buy a car at some car dealership. You already bought something from them. You were a previous customer. So all of a sudden, the car dealership says the last 100 owners that bought the customers that bought cars from us, we're going to put all of you in a draw and pull out a name. Somebody's going to win a free second car. You already needed a car, right? This is different. This is just an appreciation, a promotion that they're doing. Businesses do that sometimes. This is completely different, right? But lottery ticket, it is purely your niyyah is the gambling, right? I want to buy this for $2, $3, however price it is. You want to buy this just for a chance to see if you win the millions of dollars. So that is clear gambling. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. Is there any ruling over hunting and fishing? No, of course, you go fishing, no problem. Hunting, you don't kill any animal unless it's for food or you're in danger, right? We're not allowed as Muslims. We don't go around killing animals for sport, right? Don't go hunting for a bear so that you can cut the bear's head off and put it in your living room. That's haram in Islam. Don't do that, right? This is the way of the mushrikun. And it's amazing. They spent hundreds of years doing this, and now they're the same people who saying, oh, this tiger is becoming extinct, this rhino is becoming extinct. Well, you people are the ones who are hunting for sport, right? Or some people, they hunt for some fake miracle medicine. They go around killing rhinos and tigers without any scientific evidence whatsoever. So as a Muslim, you're only allowed to hunt animals for food, or Allah forbid, you're somewhere, an animal has attacked you. If you don't kill that animal, it's going to eat you. That's different. You're allowed to kill that animal. Or if you don't kill these animals, they're going to destroy your fruits and vegetables. So you have to put the pesticides, those chemicals, or some gophers are taking all your vegetables away, destroying the farmer's land. That's different. You have to kill those animals so that you preserve your own food as a human being. So those are the danger situations. But otherwise, hunting is completely allowed. But let's suppose, I'll end with this. Let's say you go hunting for deers. Of course, in America here, there's the deer hunting season. There's also designated areas. And of course, eating deer is halal, right? Don't ask me if eating deer is halal or not. It's halal, right? If it's cooked nice, it'll be tasty as well. So you go hunting for a deer, you say Bismillah before you shoot, or you shoot the arrow or the gun, whatever it is. You're supposed to say Bismillah, that's the key, before you fire. And then you quickly go and you slaughter the animal before it dies. So let's say you shot the deer on the leg or something, and then you quickly go and you slaughter on the neck, right? So this is how the hunting process is completed, inshallah ta'ala. You say Bismillah before firing your weapon, then you go and you slaughter that animal. And fish, of course, anything you want to hunt from the sea is completely fine. Why is it Bismillah in Surah Tawbah? because this is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it. Jibreel alayhi salam is the one who came down with this information, and he taught it this way to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So out of the 114 surah chapters, 113 of them start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah Tawbah is surah number 9. It does not start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So when you start from the beginning of Surah Tawbah, you're not supposed to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You just, if you, let's suppose you're just sitting down reading the Quran and you happen to be starting from Surah Tawbah, you just say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, and you start with Bara'atun, and you start reading. And of course, if you were reading the surah before it, you already said A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim when you first sat down to start reading the Quran, so you just continue that way. All right, let's see. Last check. I'll check one more time if there's any other questions. If not, we'll end for tonight. Inshallah ta'ala, again, tomorrow at the same time, 7:40 Eastern time. So after our Salatul Maghrib, we will do the final sixth pillar, sixth foundation of this book. And then inshallah ta'ala, we'll, in the following lectures, we'll think of another topic. So again, we'll have the lecture tomorrow night, 7:40 Eastern. All right, so no other questions. So we'll end inshallah ta'ala for tonight. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.